There is an unlimited, yes, this is Paul, gift tax exclusion for payments of another person's tuition or medical expenses. The medical and educational exclusion allowed without regard to the relationship between you and the donee for whom you are making the payments. The exclusion for directly paid educational expenses applies only to tuition, not to room, board, books, or supplies. Yes. The QTP, qualify for 5 times the annual gift tax exclusion in 1 year. And then there are the ABLE accounts. Yes. I'd like to know about these QTP contributions. Yes, yes. 5 times the annual gift tax exclusion. That'd be $75,000 a year. Oops, that's what it says. For example, a QTP contribution made in 2018 of up to 7 may be treated as if one fifth of 15,000. Oh, you're in a nursing home, Grandma. Poop. Now, nursing homes are included in medical expenses. Yes, you could spend down your estate up to $75,000 in a qualified. It's a qualified. Yeah, qualified tuition program, qualified medical expense program. I'm going to need to know Form 709. Yes, yes, yes. Just give me the actual identity of all of them. Yes. Now, for every person that received anything of value, Judge, yes. Otherwise, you would owe eliminated or reduced by the tax credit. The credit applies to lifetime gifts. The amount of the gifts that can pass tax-free depends on the applicable credit amount allowed for the year. Now, the maximum credit against taxable gifts is $4,417,800, unless it is increased for a surviving spouse because of portability election. See below was made. Now, I know on the basic exclusion amount, $11.18 million in 2018. Yes. Seems like a lot of money, doesn't it? Poop. I want to just know. Oops, Form 706. Why don't you get me those forms, the signatures, and the actual identities? Now, these custodial accounts for minors, the UGMAs and the UTMAs. Yeah. I thought for sure my sons were just guaranteed X number of millions of dollars in these different accounts. Yeah. The income tax treatment of custodian accounts, income tax from custodian accounts is generally taxable to the child. However, if the kiddie tax applies, taxable income custodian account is actually on the kiddie tax floor on $2,100 from 2018 tax child tax rate. Now, if you emancipate yourself, you remove themselves from myself. I think it increases your taxable liability for any UTMA or UGMA accounts. Now, I know. I told you I wanted my sons, and you decided to be dickheads. Poop. Now, I'm going to want to know all the UGMA and UTMA accounts as well as any of these educational accounts. Yeah, 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 yeah. And well, you took my sons, you idiots. You took them without any due process, without any proof of court service, without a fair and impartial judge. Yes. And then well, obviously, there's a huge number of lawsuits here, isn't there? Now, I went online and I did see the arrest that took place on the 23rd. Yes, wasn't very happy about that. I wasn't in Sequim, Washington. Then I looked at the FINRA website. Yeah, they really cleaned up my CRD. Yes, they did. But I'm really kind of in this pickle. Yes, he is. See, my individual responsibility penalty. Yes, I haven't filed taxes in quite a few years because I haven't had any income. No, because you issued a dissolution of marriage where I didn't get any notice of court hearings. Yes, where you decided to garnish my wages. Right. And you decided to take custody of my sons without me having any due process because my wife said I was crazy. Poop. It makes it difficult to get one of these professional jobs that I used to have when I was a stockbroker. Yes. Commodity trading advisor. Yes. And you thought, well, he's going to have insurance. Yes. Now, the minimum essential health coverage for you and your dependents, and you're not exempt from this mandate. While the penalty is repealed as of 2019, it continues to apply for 2018. Yes. Now, I think it does apply for the last 3 or 4 years. Hmm. And I think I can go to prison for failure to pay taxes or tax fines. Yes. Now, the minimal essential coverage, yes, Affordable Care Act requires you have minimal for myself, my spouse, and my dependents, unless you have an exemption. Yeah. Minimal essential coverage is a medical plan that provides health insurance coverage as required by the Affordable Care Act. Now you have Medicare, Medicaid, Children's Health Insurance Program. Have my sons been on the chip the whole fucking time? Poop. Why don't you get me these various insurances, the government programs? Yes, the TRICARE, the Veterans Health Care programs. Yeah. Then there's the Peace Corps, Department of Defense Non-Appropriated Fund Health Benefits Program, the Refuge Medical Assistance, and the coverage through the Basic Health Program Standard Health Plan. Now, for the state of Washington, that kept saying, well, you need to go on Apple. Ooh. Well, I know I've been homeless, but as an employee, a federal unemployment tax for household employees. Why don't you get me all of those that are on the... You thought I didn't want to have health insurance? That I didn't want to support my sons? I don't think I've ever said that. I said that you did not give me notice of court hearings. There was no notice of hearing action. That you had no reciprocity to dissolve a United Nations marriage certificate. That I was not a resident of the state of Washington in 2011. That you had no authority or jurisdiction of the law to reissue the protection order while I was on trial for violating the previous protection order. I have said that you have not done what the law says. Well, you're going to have to do what the law says. You can't just issue court orders without an acknowledgement from the petitioner. Yes. You can't arbitrarily decide that you're going to issue a protection order. Yes. Without any attempt of service from June 1st to June 12th. You can't say, well, we didn't serve him. We're still going to have the fucking court hearing 48 days later. Poop. You can't issue it and then serve me in the Sequim Public Library so that I'm humiliated in front of all the library patrons. Then you can't say that it's a return of service from the Sequim Police Department when it wasn't an actual officer of the law. And then you can't serve somebody other than the respondent as you did on August 27th of 2018. See, there are certain requirements of law. Requirements. Now, here's how this works. I informed you, yes, that I did not get notice or opportunity to be heard. You said my only remedy was that I could motion the court. I said, no, I don't have to have a fucking mental health evaluation. Then you decided to arrest me, didn't you? Oh, say I was crazy? Yes. You're going to cover up the use of forgeries, not only for the ex officio coerced and extorted. Not only were you obstructing my rights, my wife's right to ask me for money. How? Not only did you issue this where my son Zachary, 5 months later, could have, yes, actually said he didn't want to be included in it. Poop. You obstructed my right to call my sons as witnesses in the traffic citation. Sequim, Washington. See, you wouldn't admit the evidence, and then you wouldn't allow me to call any witnesses in my favor. Well, on his 14th birthday, my son found out that I went to jail because of the allegation of violating the restraint provisions of the protection order. Yes, that you used forgeries to issue, that did not have consent or acknowledgement from my wife. Yes, that did not protect the rights of the minors named. Yes, and it was in violation of numerous federal laws. And every day that I email you, you decide to be fucking dickheads. Well, you have to remove it. It's against the law. Zachary has a right to not be named as one of the minors named. Yes. Bishop has the right to be named not as one of the minors named. Deacon, yes. I think that is right, to not be named. So, what about Maximilian? Benjamin? Heidi? Anybody else have the right to not have you name them? Well, Brendan Washington, 2-count criminal complaint. Yes. I go to court in Brendan, Washington for a failure to appear, Judge Landis. After you issued a warrant for my arrest and a bail of $500,100. Yes. I asked you to read the protection order. The petitioner didn't sign it. Poop. The minor's name should not have been included in it right now. And then you said I was crazy. I was going to have a 1077. Well, listen, court. You dismissed the case as saying I was incompetent. Do my sons have any knowledge of what took place on or about June 16th of 2017 on my wife's 47th birthday? Is it possible that they did not fucking hear a thing?